wanted to share with you today is how to change the O-ring gasket in the lid on one of your skimmer cleanouts. And what I like to do is keep some of these handy in the event that they need to be changed, you know, right away and I'm not able to get to the store or whatever. And I found that a really good source for these things, and I've got two of these skimmer baskets on my pool, one for a water feature and one for the primary part of the pool. But I found these gaskets quite reasonably on, or quite reasonable I should say, on Amazon. So I order those up and they come in just a matter of a few days. And what I actually do is I keep a pool maintenance shopping list on Amazon when I find things that I need for my pool, whether they be gaskets or, in this case, like I've got a DE filter that has grids. I'll even keep those bookmarked, if you will, on my list, and that way when it comes time to get them again, I can do that. And I've even gotten the booster motor and pump replacement for my Polaris a couple of times and found it, you know, quite a bit cheaper that way, and they usually get here within just a couple of days of me ordering it. So anyway, today I just want to show you how to change one of these O-rings. And basically what we're going to do is pull the lid off, take the old one out, and we're going to inspect that lid to make sure that there's no issues with the lid. And then we'll actually, I keep a tube of pool and spa lube on hand, and we'll lubricate these O-rings when we put them in and make sure that this makes a good seal here, and I'll show you that here in a second. But one of the reasons you want to keep this sealed up is you don't want air getting into this system. Air is your enemy, if you will. So you want to keep this system, you know, as closed and as tight as you possibly can so it'll work more efficiently. And by doing that, you know, it's not putting an extra strain on your motor or your pump or anything like that. So let's get started. Okay, what I usually do is pop the lid out, and you can go ahead and work this out and it'll actually come out of the actual fastener. And you want to check this to make sure that there's no cracks or, you know, any major issues with that. And again, you also want to check this, and this is where the O-ring actually seats on this, and it seats down on this lip here, and you can kind of see that this one's dirty, and we're going to clean that off before we close it back up. And just making sure, I always try to go ahead and check, and this does look like it's the correct replacement part. I did order my parts off of Amazon, like I mentioned earlier, and I made sure that I got the ones for this skimmer basket, this clean out, and I'll post that link in the description there. So if you happen to need some of those, you know, we'd appreciate you getting on there and buying them through our link. We do use affiliate links, so we'll get a little something back if you happen to purchase them from Amazon through our link. We paid for these ourselves, so we're not, you know, being given these or anything like that, but we would just get a little commission if you purchase them through our link, and we would appreciate that. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to kind of clean this lid up, and I've actually, this one's not too bad today. I've actually had to take these and soak them in some, you know, hot water and detergent and with a little, maybe a little bleach on them to actually go ahead and clean them. But this one, like I said, it's not too bad today. So what I'm going to do is take a screwdriver, a small bladed slotted screwdriver, and I'm going to get in there and pry this old one out. And it doesn't look like this one is actually that bad, but I know it's happened, it's been like a full season since this one's been replaced. So I think it's time to go ahead and replace it, especially for the fact that no more than the replacement O-ring cost. It's well worth my while. And what I am seeing here, and you may not be able to see it in the video, is this one is slightly deformed and cracked in a couple of areas. So again, that's another good reason to go ahead and replace this O-ring on this lid. So we'll go ahead and I think you may be able to see it. There's also some gunk and debris on this lip here. I don't know, I think you can probably see all that on the screwdriver there, but you want to kind of clean all that out if you can. Maybe take your shop rag and just get in there and really clean that surface out really well. You want that to be as clean as you possibly can, because that's the area where that O-ring is going to seat, so you don't want anything cutting into it or digging into it. And you also want it to be a good airtight seal on the lid. So we're just going to kind of clean this one up a little bit, and then we'll get into putting some fresh lube on the new O-ring and getting that seated in there properly. And again, this is not something that has to be done, you know, that often, but for no more expense than these things are. I know they're like half the price on Amazon that they are at my like local pool supply place. And I think on Amazon I paid around maybe $4 to $5 for a pair of these. So it's well worth it to just, you know, take a minute and do this sort of a maintenance on your pool if you can, and save a little bit of money. And there are numerous O-rings on a system like this that need to be checked and possibly even, you know, replaced. You don't always have to replace them, but what I do on mine is I'll check them and clean them and maybe re-lubricate them, and they'll be good to go again for a bit. So now that's pretty clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of the pool and spa lube. It's made specifically for O-rings, gaskets, valves, threaded parts, and things like that on the pool. You'll want to keep a tube or two of this around too, because I use it quite frequently, like I said, on many of the O-rings and other things like that on the pool. And basically all I do is take it and take the new O-ring, and I'll just put some out on my finger. It doesn't take a lot, and then I'll just start working it into the O-ring. And yeah, it's a little messy, but you can clean up. So you just want to work this all around into the O-ring and get it well, you know, lubricated as you possibly can. And you can tell, you know, when it's a pretty good coating, and you can kind of see that. And yeah, I've got it all over my hands here, but so what, I'll clean up. But anyway, you just want to seat that in here on your lid, and it'll kind of press in to the lid like that. Once you've got that taken care of, like I mentioned, you also want to clean the surface here where that O-ring is going to seat. And I usually do that with just a clean rag, and just wipe it down to make sure there's no cracks or anything like that. And this one is a little bit discolored. This is an older pool at this location that we're working on. Just again, just make sure it's, you know, as clean as it possibly can be, and no real uneven surfaces. And this one looks pretty good. It's not bad. And I think I knocked a little bit of debris into the skimmer basket, so I'm going to go ahead and empty that out as well, just to make sure. It looks pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and place this back in the lid and get ready to attach it back to the skimmer body itself. And sometimes these things are a little finicky, like you saw there on that one. It was just a little bit difficult to get back into position. But if you just you know, move it around a little bit, don't force it, because you don't want to crack this this lid, but it'll go back in there. And then once you have that, you're able to just position it back in place and then gently turn it until it seals, and you can feel it seal. And then you'll want to, you know, you maybe want to check it, but this one feels a lot better. And then you'll want to start up your pool and get the water circulation going again, and then check that. So I hope this helps. Get out there and have some fun in your pool. Enjoy the summer, and don't forget to check out our channel for some other DIY videos. We're going to have several coming soon on other pool maintenance tips that I found work good for me, and I hope they help you.